Neighbors, friends, this is an SOS, a distress signal, a call to action. I need you to stand with me and share in the rescue of our neighbors. As I continue to describe the plight of our workers, let us lift our focus from our workers and their workplaces to a larger view, to the total context within which work and business happen here in our mountains. Achieving justice for our workers will not happen in Mariposa unless we first get in touch with this larger view and the immense value that our community and its workers bring to the table. When one of our neighbors takes a job in Yosemite, he or she is not just bringing his or her individual skill and labor to the job, but comes to her employer as part of a much larger community that makes it possible for that employer to have success and realize great profits. When an employer abuses our workers, the employer abuses all of us, our entire community. A clearer way to think of this community is to think of it as our Yosemite Gold Country Commons, or simply our Mariposa Commons. Our Mariposa Commons is the rich, fertile ground in which our children, people, and futures are nurtured and formed. Our Mariposa Commons is that part of our community owned by all of us. It includes majestic Yosemite, the Merced River, our gold country and its rich history. Much of the ground beneath our feet and the air that flows over all of it is ours, and much, much more. It's our roads and fantastic oaks, giant sequoias, ponderosa pines, and acres of rich grassland and towering mountains. It's our schools and faith communities and community organizations that prepare our young to participate as good neighbors, valuable citizens, and productive workers. It includes a caring local business community that provides quality products and services and creates good jobs for all its workers. Our heroic sheriffs and firefighters, our ranches and artists, and our tradition of good minimalist government are all in our commons, as are all those who make much of our good life possible, our workers. And so is the generosity, wisdom, and mentoring of our elders. It's our can-do mountain way of life, and so much more. It's all part of the heritage we enjoy and pass on to our kids and grandkids. Our commons is the rich, fertile ground in which our people and our futures are nurtured and formed. Let me illustrate this idea of the commons with a ridiculous example. Judging by the thousands of folks who stop every day to snap photos of El Capitan, it is clearly one of the great treasures in our commons. If Subway or Delaware North put a neon sign on El Capitan, we would find that offensive and would object mightily because we would see it as an abuse of our commons. The abuse is clear because we recognize that there are things in our lives that are sacred, that have great value, things that are not for sale. In a society that assigns a monetary value to everything, including life itself, many of us resist excessive commercialization because we consider many things more important than money. Our Mariposa Commons encompasses many things more valuable than money. Our neighbors, with whom we share our lives, and the bountiful nature that enriches and sustains our lives and spirits are far more important than money. So, which is more offensive? Having a Subway or Delaware North sign on El Cap, or abusing one of our own, one of our neighbors, with poverty wages or no wages? If El Capitan and our neighbors are part of our commons, shouldn't we object strenuously to the abuse of both? Allowing one percenters and others to exploit our commons and include our neighbors in their race to the bottom, in our case, to the 57th place in employment in all of California's counties, is a violation of our commons, one we continue to ignore at our peril. Let me illustrate. We live in one of the most spectacular places on the planet. Our Yosemite Gold Country is an incredibly popular, world-class tourist destination with over 4 million visitors a year. Most of the tourists who come pay good rates for hotels, meals, B&Bs, and vacation rentals. These affluent visitors fly in from all over the world, enjoy expensive vacations, and have good vacation budgets. One percenters, foreign corporations, and local businesses extract great profits from our commons because our visitors and our locals spend a great deal of money in their restaurants, lodging, stores, and for many services. Yosemite has a core of park rangers and other professionals who operate the park. They receive good wages, living wages, and good benefits. Our county, state, and federal government supports the commons with administration, roads, fire, sheriff, and other services. It earns millions in taxes from tourists and others who use the commons. Our governments use a big chunk of these taxes to pay good wages with benefits to most of its workers and its political leaders. Let's not forget our retired community, a large community in our incredibly beautiful commons. Many of our retired neighbors have good pensions and live the good life in lovely homes. Our unique, prosperous commons provides a great place to enjoy a comfortable retirement. Are you following me so far? Our commons, owned by all of us, is bringing prosperity, comfort, and financial security to lots and lots of people. This is as it should be. However, a few thousand of our residents were left off our list. A few thousand of our neighbors, who are also stakeholders in our Mariposa Commons, were left off because they have no work or their work doesn't bring them prosperity and financial security because they're not earning a living wage. Most members of this group are employed by foreign corporations, corporations that export their profits out of our county. And get this, our workers not only don't receive living wages, but they get few benefits, and many work and live under very poor conditions. Let's see. Our worker neighbors work hard and play by the rules, but they get lousy wages, few or no benefits, and work under bad work conditions, while most everyone else is doing well. And 13% of our workers have no jobs because the profits that could create jobs are sent to Canada or to East Coast cities. Why have we allowed this to happen in our commons? Why are we allowing it to continue? When we share our commons and permit one percenters to operate businesses here, the very least we should expect is that they will treat our workers well and compensate them fairly. But do they? Not even close. In fact, a big share of the profits they export comes from the great difference between the poverty wages they pay and the living wage they ought to pay. Last year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that the wage for Mariposa restaurant workers was $262 a week, or $13,624 for the year. The one percenters exploit our worker neighbors by paying poverty wages, and they create unemployment by exporting profits earned here in our commons, and we stand by mute. And then we pay the huge social services bill they leave behind by their abusive practices. The Occupy movement exploded across America because of the great taking of wealth by the 1%, and especially the injustices of banks and speculators. As journalist Chris Hedges points out, in the 17th century, they used to hang speculators. From where I sit, the 1%ers that so enraged the Occupy movement are alive and well right here in Mariposa. You be the judge. Make your own judgment as I describe Mariposa's 1%ers in the next video in this series. In the meantime, please reflect on our incredible commons and wonder with me why we allow foreign corporations and 1%ers to exploit our commons and our workers, and wonder why we don't recognize the tremendous value of ourselves, our workers, and commons, and begin to act like rightful owners, rightful partners, not beggars who allow corporations to race our workers to the bottom with poverty wages. Remember, we are all neighbors. We are all Mariposa.